Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. Today, we're talking about the new MCU film, Thunderbolts. Asterix. Quick-ish summary of the plot. Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina is being impeached as CIA director for running a highly risky new super serum program that killed all but one of its test subjects. To hide the evidence against her, she hires some of the MCU's morally gray characters, Yelena, U.S. Agent, Ghost, and Taskmaster, to do their black ops. Once they've completed their tasks, they're disposable, and Valentina sends them unwittingly into an incinerator trap. They all survive except for Taskmaster, who is shot in the head by Ghost, and they rescue, though he probably didn't actually need rescuing as it turned out, that one surviving test subject, Bob, aka Sentry. Bucky and the Red Guardian enter the mix, and our team sets out to expose Valentina, calling themselves the Thunderbolts, after Yelena's winless youth soccer team, which was coached by Alexei, aka the Red Guardian. Obviously, problems with the Sentry arise, caused by Bob's dark side, the Void. He threatens to place all of New York in their own personal pocket dimensions of shame and depression. The team enters the darkness to find and help Bob deal with the void inside him, and together they succeed. Valentina quickly arranges a press conference to call the team the New Avengers, hence the Asterix, and we get two end credit scenes, a comedic bit with Red Guardian trying to get a random lady at a grocery store to recognize him from a Wheaties box, and a more substantive scene in which the New Avengers mention they're being sued for copyright infringement by Sam, and then track an incoming interdimensional spaceship with the Fantastic Four logo on it, likely foreshadowing, I guess, the end of the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. All that said, Paul.
Yes?
What'd you think of Thunderbolts?
Yeah, I liked it, and I probably had less qualms about it than I did about the
Brave New World.
Although that was, like I think I said, it was a good hang. But, the thing that I liked about Thunderbolts is Yelena Belova.
Yep.
They did a great job, and of course Florence is, a great actor. And so that story really worked well. And
Agreed.
then the other aspects of it were fine. It's like they're just trying not to do things to really screw things up, and you want the moments between the characters to be good, and they were. But since seeing it, saw that their original plan was for Walker to be sort of driven by Valentina to become even more of a super soldier, and then he was going to sort of Hulk out.
Okay.
Once they found out that was kind of the idea of the last movie that I mentioned, they're like, let's do something different.
Okay.
So, it's like the things where it's sort of like they're playing on the comedy of Valentina. It's like, oh yeah, she's double talking and she's willing to have everybody die, but she
Right, she's evil in a silly way, kind of.
Yeah, or at least in a comic way, I'll say.
Okay.
You could say it's silly, but it's not like
Right,
all these clowns are coming around.
Good point. Good point. There are in terms of the MCU, there are real consequences to her actions, to the populace. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. But, the thread that they've always had with her is the whole, she really wants family, she really wants a connection.
She being Yelena.
Yes. And so that really worked well, all those aspects of it. And
I happened to rewatch the Black Widow movie last week on TV. And in many ways, this almost really felt like a sequel.
Yeah,
an unofficial sequel, let's say.
Right.
It is Yelena and Alexei still coming to terms with their pasts,
sure,
helping each other through their presence. Right. I would say Yelena's the star of this film, and Alexei is a genuinely funny comedic relief, still has some vulnerable honesty. I mean, that line where he's like, "Yelena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes." That was a pretty
Yeah.
It was incredibly well delivered line, but really impactful in that moment.
Yeah, and I bought, it's like they were struggling to have Thunderbolts mean anything. And
yeah, so it's not Thunderbolt Ross. It has nothing to do with Thunderbolt Ross.
No.
It was her soccer team, which I was. Right. We were the Brookstone Dragons.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
Before that, when I was probably what her age would have been in the Thunderbolts, we were the Road Runners. So yeah, I think there was a team Star Wars as well that we played in.
Okay.
I was like, that's a weird. Okay, sure. But,
that's weird.
Well, it's like, why not pick like a type of character like the Jedi or something? Like, you call yourselves the Star Wars is kind of an odd thing, right? Like, go the Star Wars.
Oh, we're playing the franchise next week.
Exactly. I mean, I grew up playing soccer, so I appreciate the fact that their one lasting memory is there was one of the girls on the team pooped during the game.
Okay.
Like, oh, okay. And they lost every game. Yeah, I mean, I think, though it has a Suicide Squad vibe, I feel like it is a bit different in that these aren't prisoners forced into a suicide mission.
No.
They are super-powered individuals who all have, what, as Natasha said, red in their ledger. And so it's more of their choice to do this as opposed to like, look, we'll take off your sentence if you do a thing. So anyway, so just like the motivations are different and the characters involved, I think are different in that way. But I think it was a good MCU film.
Yeah,
probably not a great MCU film, but a good one. I would say better than Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not the best, but it's upper tier Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't think it did particularly well. It didn't bomb out at the box office. It didn't do particularly well the first week. I think word of mouth, because it's getting good reviews and good ratings.
Yeah.
I think word of mouth will give it a reasonable second week.
Sure.
So we'll see. I mean, I think it'll probably break even. I don't think it's going to do any kind of like a Deadpool Wolverine type of number thing.
No, probably not.
But it can't hurt the MCU to make solid, watchable films.
Yeah,
good on them.
It's probably even stronger, on subsequent venues. So on streaming, it'll be strong, and after people watch Black Widow, it'll say, "Hey, you want to watch the Thunderbolts?" And people are like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yep, I agree. I mean, and some of the comedic lines were pretty awesome. I thought there was some great humor in there. What were some of the lines? I wrote some down. So I liked when Bob's talking to Walker and he's like, "So you were Captain America?" and he's laughing about the fact that this is Captain America. And Walker's like, "Why are you laughing? I don't understand." Like, "You were Captain America?" "Yeah, what? You're an asshole." Like, just that sense of like, yeah, you're not, you don't seem to exhibit any of those.
Those qualities. Yeah,
those qualities. Valentina dismissing Alexei, like, "Who's this old Santa?" Like, "I'm Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian," and she obviously has no idea who he is. She's just like, what? But then the line that was that caught me off guard and was pretty damn funny was they're in one of Bob's nightmares, essentially.
Oh, she is.
And he's dressed up as this big chicken, and he's hitting the Red Guardian with a sign. And Red goes, "Bob, if you hit me with that sign one more time." I was like, "I was on meth," which is pretty good. Plus, actually, pretty clever. After they get announced as the new Avengers, so Valentina's like, "Look, it's the new Avengers." They do in the post credits or during the credits, they show these newspaper articles.
Oh,
and such.
Right, sure.
And they're all, not all of them, but there's like several of them are doubting whether like these are really the new Avengers, the B-Vengers one, and, so they were mocking themselves in that way, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
So there was some stuff to laugh at as well. But again, Florence Pugh really does bring this honesty to this thing where she's going through depression, and they do that little fun counterpoint where she's like, just day to day I get up, I do my job. Meanwhile, she's just shooting people in the face. But she's like, that's her daily grind. And she just goes home and drinks. She identifies with Bob's depression. They form a little bit of a bond before he turns to the Sentry. And then that relationship is explored a little further when she tries to save him in the void. So I think all that works pretty well.
It really carries the movie. I mean,
agreed. And they won without punchy punch. I like that.
Yes. Yeah, that was fine too. Yeah, actually, I think it didn't necessarily have to work, actually, because I think they suitably established. Louis Pullman did as Bob. He really did a good job of portraying a character was clearly not stable. It was just really worked well. There are times like, well, maybe I'll just let him catch me. It's just like. There are times when he just sort of had lost the will to sort of fight on or do anything. And, it was a good sort of counterpoint to, I don't think I would have wanted to see, Wyatt Russell's, God bless him, he's doing what he can with this character that they've created.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's son versus Bill Pullman's son.
You know what? Thank you for saying that. I should have known. He certainly looks like his father. But he's doing a very good job. So I think that was a more interesting sort of combination.
Yeah, because at that moment at the end when he's punching the void, and it seems like, I mean, the movie does a good job at make you think like, oh, that's what you want. You want him to defeat the void. And I was thinking at the time, like, surely that's not how they're going to end this with him. Here's how you defeat depression. You beat the hell out of it. So I was like, I don't know. That's the best message to send through this.
You must beat yourself, and it was turning. So that was actually a good.
So I was like, oh no, okay, great.
And they, probably wise in that now that he has fought that demon, now he doesn't. It's not like, oh, now I can do whatever I want. Now I'm so. It's like
great point. Yeah, because we get in the post credit, he's like, hey, if I become Sentry, I run the risk of bringing in the void, and I also like that. I mean, that's kind of one of the things. I think we've talked about this in the past when I was talking about the Incredible Hulk. The Hulk's weakness, if you want to call it that, is you don't know, he's uncontrollable in that state. Yes. And so it's similar here. You have Sentry where it's like, okay, yes, he's omnipotent. But you do bring in the fact that maybe he will be terrible, and so that's your downside. They're like, okay, that's So I appreciate that limitation on his powers. This is just a little aside, but I appreciated this moment when Taskmaster is killed, and then Walker and Ghost start looting her corpse.
Oh.
And, and Elena's like, look, show a little respect. And they look at her like, what? But, it just reminded me, actually, this is just maybe more particular to me, but it reminded me of a typical D&D campaign where it's like, well, Sir Gerald's died. Not going to need that sword anymore. We'll just take that. And, oh, look at that helmet. Oh, nice. But, yeah, they were looting the body. I was like, oh man. Hey, they're mercenaries.
Yeah.
You gotta get the good stuff.
They are. I think it's interesting that they brought that character in after she was in the previous Black Widow. And
right.
Then it was really Yelena.
Was there a plan for her, maybe, or
no? Well, who knows? I just think that Yelena sort of saying, okay, you know what? I knew that person, and she sells her value in just basically she felt the death basically in her lack and couldn't sort of stand up for her. It wasn't completely meaningless It was just mostly meaningless.
It was just mostly, yeah. I think she has like literally a line. I think she comes in and says something like, "I'm not here for you," and that might be the only word she says.
That would surprise me if that were the case. I feel like she might have said a few other things, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was very fast. She was there for a scene.
Yeah.
And then and in the middle of that scene was gone. So maybe it was kind of we need somebody to die to kind of show this that there's real stakes here.
Sure.
But boy, it was really fast. It was like, whoop,
It's weird that this movie, it's great that they focus on that character and that it works. This whole thing about the New Avengers thing is kind of lame.
I mean, I think we even mentioned. I mean, I don't think it's that surprising. I think we even mentioned it. I don't know, a while back, where it was like, oh, it's got an asterisk. Maybe that's because either they're going to be like the Dark Avengers or the New Avengers or something. And so they're the New Avengers, and then I think they're changing the posters. Is that true? I think maybe they're trying to.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, that's a weird sort of.
I mean, the fact that they were mocking, themselves. So.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, you're gonna see it now that it's called the New Avengers instead of Thunderbolts. I mean, like Thunderbolt asterisks. Yeah, so right. I don't know. Weird. Because it's not like, I mean, that group, half Avengers, more like eighth Avengers or something, like a bunch of Captain Americas, I guess.
Well, you have the joke too, where Alexi's like, "Well, we can avoid the copyright if we just put a Z at the end of the name." Zers.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's not like you feel like, okay, this is a path that'll lead.
Yeah, you don't. Places. Agreed. It comes off as a joke, really.
Yeah. So
they're playing it for laughs.
It's like, okay, yeah. So we'll see. And the next thing, Fantastic Four.
I believe Fantastic Four is going to take place in this, as they mentioned, and interdimensional ship. So it's in a different dimension. So I don't think we'll have any kind of crossovers during the movie.
Oh no!
Until you get to the end of the movie, and then they come into
Yeah, no, I just meant in terms of like once a number of those movies came along, you're like, okay, I can see how this changes the world and how they can build up from that. That's all. And so, this movie, it's like, okay, you got a bunch of people hanging out, but, they're in contrast to, it's like, they didn't think about combining them with whatever Sam is doing. I mean,
right. Also, the fact that it was actually somewhat enlightening when, they're like, hey, Bucky, you're his friend. And he's like, yeah, I talked to him. It went poorly.
Yeah. Which, okay. So we'll see where we are at the end of.
Fantastic Four, I agree.
That's more setting up Secret Wars and.
Right. Yep.
So we'll see what comes out of that.
I did like, and I think they could have explored this even more, but I think there was enough of a suggestion of it in this that Alexi idolized Bucky, not as Bucky Barnes, but as the Winter Soldier. Like. I think that was pretty awesome. Like he probably emulated Winter Soldier as the Red Guardian. So he's like, oh, it's the Winter Soldier. Oh, wow. Whereas I'm sure it's the last thing Bucky wants to be, remembered for. Like, oh, yeah, the guy who killed JFK. Great, thanks. Yeah. I just liked that dynamic there where he was just like, oh, man, you're the Winter Soldier. Awesome.
Yeah, he's bringing it. It'd be a bold thing. They should think about giving him a TV show.
A good way to ruin it. Yep, that'd be great.
Well, it's like he could, if you wanted to find a real heart, because he found the heart in those scenes with Yelena. So basically, I'm saying he's talented enough to carry.
And I'm saying in Stranger Things, it's a TV show, and he does an excellent job.
So I'm just basically saying, if they decided to say, okay, what could we do? You'd want to have someone who could be the center of it, who would be worth having at the center of it, and
Yep. No, agreed. Yep. Yeah, he's a strong character, and he seems to. He being David Harbour as the actor really seems to have nailed what this guy is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's great. The whole bit where Yelena stops by his house unexpectedly, and he's trying to clean up because he wants to impress her. And then when she calls him out after Natasha died for like not being there,
Right.
or not calling, and he's like,
Right.
I thought you didn't want me.
Yeah.
And you
yeah.
and you believed. I believed it. I didn't think you were just saying it.
Exactly.
He's like,
no.
I just didn't think you don't
Yeah.
think highly enough of me to care what I would say.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was really important.
It was. Yeah. It's like, the bond that she made was with Natasha, and it was her family, but not in a way that he felt it was like, she really had invested in him.
Now, there was also that indication that when the Thunderbolts, the team, goes into the void and then eventually gets to Bob and Yelena, that they went through their own shame rooms, if you want to call it that.
Oh, sure.
And we kind of saw what Walker's would have been when he touches. But I'd be interested to have seen what Ghost and Alexi's
sure.
version of the depression area. What's that moment in time that I fear the most or whatever. I would have liked to have seen those. Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's nice that they can pull in talented actors, and they're just sort of extra bodies. Even Wendell Pierce, who was who was a great actor there. Playing Cognizant Gary. It's just
Gary.
there to fill out a scene with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and okay.
Yeah, but they really, you're right. I think you're saying that they didn't do a lot with Ghost. And I agree. It was like she kind of got the short end of the stick in terms of character development.
Yeah.
Something that occurred to me. So, when you saw the trailer and you see Sentry, just turning people into shadow marks on the street, you were thinking perhaps that he was killing them. He's not.
No, of course not.
So he probably killed some people. Whatever. There was some collateral damage. Probably somebody died, but he didn't kill as many people as it seemed. So did he actually Did he just give New York free health care? Did he I think you guys need to address your own inner demons, and so I'm gonna don't push it down. Don't do a Yelena. You don't push it down. We're gonna have you address it. So here you go, everybody. Enjoy. Compliments of Sentry. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they came back better people. New York's a little better place. That said, you'd be crazy to open a storefront in the MCU's Manhattan, right?
Sure.
It's a good place for a pizza place. The Chitauri. Oh, Thanos. Oh, the Sentry. Oh, whatever. Yeah, don't.
Off the top of my head, there's no particular reason why it had to be in New York, right?
Right. I mean, well, they put the Avengers Tower there.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that was the reason. Okay.
Watchtower. When Bob is going to sneeze, they're all climbing up the tube together, and then he's going to sneeze, and they're like, "Say cucumber."
Yeah.
It reminds me, say my wife always tells me to say pineapple when I'm going to sneeze, and inevitably I sneeze and then say pineapple. Which doesn't work quite as well.
No,
as
I wouldn't think. No.
Yeah. But anyways, it was just we actually looked at each other in the theater, like, "Oh, pineapple." Nope. All right, there's cucumber. It's not going to work. It was a fun movie. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these characters again. So let's probably in Doomsday, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. In fact, we will, because their chairs were in the chair advertisement. So they'll be back for Doomsday.
Sure.
But yeah, anyway, we will be back talking about episodes 7, 8, and 9 of Andor, which I think episode 9 promises to be a very impactful episode. So let's I'm looking forward to that. So thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good problem. Sir. And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.